I think in the last class we have completed the discussion about performance, right? We need to discuss about the difference between performance appraisal and performance management. Which one is a broader term and which one is a narrower term? In other words, which one is part of which element, Nana? Is performance management part of performance appraisal or performance appraisal is part of performance management? In performance management, appraisal is a part. Am I clear, Nana? In small organizations, there is no difference between appraisal and management. But in bigger organizations or generally, there is a clear-cut distinction between appraisal and management. They will clearly define that appraisal of performance of an individual is part of management of performance. What do you mean by management? Controlling. To control anything, first you need to measure. And we're talking about controlling of whose performance? Employees. So to manage the performance of employees, first we need to measure. Once we have measured it, we'll compare it with the standard. This comparison of actuals with standard is called as appraisal. Now who are going to define the standards? Both management as well as employee. It's a team effort, Nana. It's a team effort. Both have to sit together. That's why we have the terms appraiser and appraisee. Okay, so without any further ado, let us start question number 3. That is difference between performance management and performance appraisal.
Show how performance management is different from performance appraisal.
And do remember one thing, like in CA Foundation or CA Inter or CMA Inter, I'm not going to explain each and every word or sentence. If it is a general sentence, we'll move on to the next sentence. Am I clear? Okay, you please try to put your own effort, Nana. Everyone has access to mobile phones. So once the class is over, you can access to the meanings or you can search the meanings or whatever things you want to do. But don't expect me to explain each and every word. Because you people are as of now grown up. And I'm expecting some sort of effort from your end. I don't want to spoon feed everything. Whatever the content that is important or a file that it is important or difficult to understand, that I will explain. Remaining basic sentences, I will just skip on to the next part. Am I clear, Nana? I hope you people are comfortable with it. Read it, my dear.
The statement performance management and performance appraisal are sometimes synonymously used.
They are used synonymously or interchangeably. That's what I said. In small organizations, both mean one and the same. Next, Nana.
But they are different.
Okay.
Performance management is a comprehensive, continuous and flexible approach to the management of organizations,
Teams
and individuals, which involves the maximum amount of dialogue between those concerned.
What do you mean by involvement of dialogue between those concerned here? Which parties are concerned, Nana? 2 parties. Who are those? Appraiser and appraisee. Both have to sit together. There will be some discussion regarding what should be the standard. Once they have come to a common understanding, then they will fix a standard. Against that standard, their employees' actual performance will be measured. Okay, the same thing will be done either in an organization or team or for an individual. Am I clear? I have taken an example also now. When it comes to our hours, we are the one who give the initial hours. The management will simply give us a sheet which consists of chapter names and blank column. And they will ask us to write down allotted hours. Now we put on whatever the allotted hours that are required for each chapter. If the management is happy with it, they will accept it. Or else they will ask us to modify in appropriate manner. They will put forward the problem that they face. And they will ask us to reduce these hours by 10 hours or 15 hours altogether. Now it's up to you. Management, what they say is, Nana, they will keep the onus on us only, asking us to reduce these many hours. Now it's up to you where you want to reduce and where you want to increase, but total hours should decrease. So this is a dialogue that keeps on happening between management and employee. Once we are at a common understanding, then they will fix on the standards. Now once the class gets started, they will compare the actual with the standards. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal is a more limited approach which involves managers making top-down assessments.
Top-down assessment. That means who will be assessing whom? A superior will be assessing a subordinate, not the other way around. Superior to subordinate, top to bottom, or top down approach. Bottom top approach means subordinate to superior. Am I clear? So here appraisal will be done from top to down. That means generally a superior will appraise the performance of his subordinate. Next, Nana.
And rating the performance of their subordinates at an annual performance appraisal
Generally
meeting.
appraisal can be done twice a year or annually. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal.
Difference between performance appraisal and performance management.
It concerns with top-down assessment. Performance management. It concerns with joint process through dialogue.
It's a dialogue between two parts, discussion between two parts, that is management. Assessment done by superiors of subordinates. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal. Annual appraisal meeting is held.
Okay.
Performance management. Continuous review with one or more formal reviews. It is not an annual process.
It is not an annual process. That means it is not done once a year. It is done continuously throughout the year. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal. It is monolithic system, that is it is a structured system not open to
Once the appraisal system is fixed, it is common for each and every employee. They are not going to change the standards from one employee to, or they are not going to change the assessment system from one employee to another employee. System remains standard to remove any kind of unbiased or partiality. To remove any kind of biased and partial opinions. What is the standard followed in our organization? Comparison of actual hours with standard hours. The same thing is followed in each and every subject. Now, hours may change from subject to subject, but the system remains constant or consistent. That means it is fixed. It is not flexible. At the end of the year, if they are not happy, if the management is not happy with the system, that they may change. But in the middle of the year, they are not going to change. That's what they have given. Monolithic means inflexible. Once it is defined, it is common for everyone. Everyone has to adhere to that particular system. Next, Nana.
performance management. It is flexible process.
It's a flexible process now. Depending on the requirements of the management, the discussion, the standards, everything will change. But once the standards have been fixed, a system is defined. It remains constant throughout the year. Next.
Performance appraisal. It focuses on quantified objectives.
Quantified objectives. What do you mean by quantified? Measurable objectives. Here my performance is measured in terms of hours. How many hours were allotted? How many hours this idiot has taken? Isn't it?
Yes.
So it is called as quantified basis now. Okay, and generally when it comes to measure, it is better to keep it as quantifiable as possible. Next.
Performance management. It focuses on values, behaviors, and objectives.
There's a complete difference, and it's a subjective concept. Values, behavior. The behavior which is apt to me may not be apt to some other person. For example, you people are eating in my classroom. It's okay with me. But it may not be okay to some other faculty. Now you can't quantify this behavior. That means it's a subjective concept now, not an objective concept. Am I clear? It's a subjective concept. So a behavior of one employee may be okay for one type of management, but may not be okay for another type of management. Am I clear, Rana? So basing on this, the management process will change. Next round.
Performance appraisal. Complex paperwork is needed. That is bureaucratic approach.
That is bureaucratic approach, Nana. You have to fill in the employee. In the last class, I think we had discussed. First, the employee has to rate himself. How well he has performed the work. That is called as self-appraisal. Okay, you have done a work. Very good. You have whatever the work that was given to you, you have completed it. Now take this form and assess yourself. Then forward the document to the management. Again, management will sit and assess. Then basing on that, they will give you a feedback and counseling if required. Now, feedback can be positive. If feedback is positive, no need of any counseling. But if feedback is negative, counseling. And thereafter, reward if necessary. Isn't it? That is what we have seen in the last class. Are you able to follow, Nana? So it's a complex process. It involves several layers or several steps which are clearly defined. So that is what it is given here. Why it is called as bureaucratic approach? I have given you the meaning of bureaucratic means administrative or procedural. You can't skip any step. You have to follow each and every step in a proper format. Yes, it may take some time, but still you have to do it. Next, my dear.
Performance management. Documentation kept to a minimum. That is managerial approach.
That is everything depends on management. Comparatively, here documentation work will be less. They will only mention the minutes of the meeting if necessary and conclusion. That's standards. That's it. No need of further document. But when it comes to appraisal, you need several documents. Next, Rana.
Performance appraisal.
Done by whom? Done by in management, which department? Generally, when we say management, the direct board of directors is not going to appraise your performance. It is responsibility of HR. HR stands for. So what happens in companies is that the team leader, once the appraisal is done by him, he will forward this to the HR. HR will look into other parameters, his discipline, his behavior with co-employees, etc., etc. Then basing on that, they will take a decision whether to promote him or not, or whether to reward him or not. Am I clear? Next.
Performance management owned by line managers.
Oh, done by. Owned by means done by whom? Managers. Done by managers. Next, Nana.
Performance appraisal involves use of ratings.
Here it is done basing on ratings. In software companies, depending on the company, they use different standards, Nana. For example, most of the company use 5-star rating. 5-star rating. The average rating will be 3 and 3.5. 4 rating, excellent. Don't expect to get 5 out of 5. Deliberately, they will not give, or we should not give full rating. 4 is the maximum. 4 is the maximum. 3.5 is okay. Depending on this rating only, his reward will be decided. Next.
Performance management use of ratings less common.
Next.
Performance appraisal. It is a part of performance management. Performance management, it includes performance appraisal and beyond.
Not only performance appraisal, but also several other aspects. Okay. So this is about difference between appraisal and management. Next, Nana, question number 4. When it comes to question number 4, it is already covered in question number 2. That's why what I will do is that I will simply strike it off. But you please don't strike it off. You just go through it once. You just go through it once, Nana. I'm not going to explain it line by line. Everything is already covered in question number 1, question number 2. Am I clear? Make it fast. I'm giving you time in the classroom itself. Please go through it once. Make it fast, Nana. When it comes to employee, he's only concerned about one thing in performance management. When it comes to employee, see, when we talk about performance management, we need to understand it from employer point of view as well as from employee. Now I'm talking from employee point of view. As an employee, when it comes to performance management, I'm only concerned about one thing. What is it? How much they are crediting me at the end of the month. More the credit, more the enthusiasm, more the efficiency. Less the credit, less the enthusiasm, less the efficiency or zero efficiency. So if you want me to work more efficiently, udhar dal. Kisme dalu? Account mein. Kitna? More the merrier. More the better. That means I am simply concerned about one thing, reward. Paisa. That is the first point, right? Employees can strive for superior performance when it is linked to compensation package. A true employer always starts the discussion with what you are supposed to achieve and how much you will be rewarded. Both should go hand in hand. Employer should not wait for employee to ask for reward. Before asking itself, the employer should say, this is the reward you will get if you perform in this way. Employer should not give any chance to employee to put his opinion. The moment you allow him to put his opinion, his expectations will be much higher than what you are offering. So So it is better for the employee to put everything on the table. This is what I'm expecting from you. This is the salary that you are earning as of now. If you complete this work, you will be paid extra. That's it. Not more than that. To push forward the entire information and let him think whether he is happy with that or not. And you just need answers in yes or no. That's it now. We don't want, employer does not want any kind of opinion from employee. Because the moment employer is putting forward this information, already employer has made up this mind. If he accept that work, okay, or else we'll go to plan B. He's not there to negotiate with you. He's not there to, employer is not there to negotiate with you. He has given you offer. If you want to accept it, you can accept it. Or else employer will immediately go to plan B. If not this employer, someone else. He's not there to negotiate with you. If he's there to negotiate with you, he will ask your opinion first. The employer will ask your opinion. What's your opinion? Do you want any growth or not? If so, what you want to do further? This will be the discussion. But when employer has already made up his mind, what they will say, see, this is the subject we want to give it to you additionally. Already you are earning so and so. If you prove your worth in this subject, we will reward you regularly by this much extra amount. That means employer has already made up their mind. They are just asking your answer, whether it is yes or no. That should be the proper way of communicating with the employee. The moment you give chance to the employee, the discussion will never end with a positive note. The discussion will never end with a positive note. Either employee may not be happy or employer may not be happy. No. That is what you are saying. Employees can strive for superior performance which linked with compensation package aided them in attaining their goal. You achieve this objective, we will pay you immediately. That means this bonus or this increment is linked to your performance. Whether you want to accept this challenge or not. Tell me now itself. Next point. Employees are able to identify. Management has given me the task of an extra subject. Now I have to think of myself whether I have those resources available with me or not. If not, how to increase my efficiency. I have to plan accordingly. Yes, I have accepted the challenge. That means I have to increase. I know that I am not capable of that as of now, but I can achieve it by increasing my efficiency. So how to increase my efficiency? How to increase my skill? I have to work on it. Performance management assists the implementation of an effective. Everything revolves around reward. Without reward, you can't expect employees to work efficiently. Everything, that's what I said. None. Employees only concerned about one thing. Yanta. How much? That's what I'm concerned about. When Prakash sir asked me my opinion, I said I'm only concerned about one thing. How much my account is credited at the end of the day. You talk that thing first. Then let me decide. I don't want you people to hitting around the bush. Idi, adi, avadu. What you are expecting from me and how much you are willing to offer. That's it. Keep it as simple as possible. The more the discussion, everything gets cluttered and confused. We don't want that kind of clutter. Clear cut undali. Em expect chestunnamu, pass avatam expect chestunnamu. Enta 50%. Clear cut undali. Ila rastene marks padtayi. If your answer is in this way, only you will be allotted marks, or else everything should be as clear. If it is simple, that means it is clear. So that's what employees also expect. How much I will be rewarded. If reward is more, definitely I will be willing to take that challenge. In this entire process, this plays a very important role. Yes, I should know, right? See, I may not be able to realize my mistakes. I may be happy with my class. Students may be happy with what they have earned. But from management point of view, they may not be happy with few points. So when they are not happy with that, they have to convey the same to me. That is called as feedback. They have to pass on the information to me. Yes, you have performed this work. Everything is okay, but there is a small issue. You please work on this issue. And if it's a positive thing, I don't need any counseling. But it's a negative thing, I definitely need some counseling. Okay, that is given there. Next, Nana, and it should be two-way communication. Two-way communication means the communication which should happen two ways, Nana. From employer to employee and employee to, just like management wants to give me some feedback, likewise, I also want to give some feedback to the management. What is it? I am not happy with this 500 ml of water. I need 1 liter of water. I am not happy with only one cordless mic. I need 2 cordless mic so that I can roam around the students. I do have some opinion. I do have some feedbacks, right? So it should be two-way communication. And if necessary, I should counsel the management also. That is theoretically possible. Practically, that is not possible. The moment you start counseling management, the management will try to find alternative for you. Do remember that. Having opinions is one thing and conveying the same to other person is another thing. There is nothing wrong in being opinionated. But please remember please think twice before conveying the same to others. Friends విషయంలో కూడా you may have some opinions. ఎందుకురా పెంట అనుకుంటే మూసుకో కూర్చోండి. Am I clear? Right, Nana. Here also, performance management creates an environment where strategic purpose of the organization is suitably purported through the. What do you mean by performance management? Management should be able to convey what they want to achieve in the long term. They should convey the same to the employees. In long term, we want to see our organization in such a position. To be in that position, every year we have to achieve certain objectives. To achieve these objectives, every year we are expecting some sort of efficiency from you. In this way, management should be able to communicate same with the employees. Performance management aids. Aids means helps. Personal growth. Personal growth means a growth of employees. And advancement means improvement. Improvement financially and as well as non-financially. As they are acquainted means well versed, or they will come across, or they will learn new knowledge, new skills for this job, which may be helpful for this job as well as for other jobs. Okay, so elements of performance management already we have covered it, Nana. First, what management will do? They will set an, basing on that objective, they will define the measures and measure it. Then feedback mechanism, then reward, then amendment of objective. It keeps on happening again and again and again. It's a loop. Every year we are not going to have same objective, right? Management keeps on changing objective year after the year. Same thing is given. Already we have covered the same thing in question number 2. So this is about the first 4 questions now. Next, question number 5. I will wait for a couple of minutes. Please go through all 4 questions. Make it fast. Make it fast, Nana. Just go through some main points, not line by line. Just go through some main points. No need of going through question number 1. It's very basic. Please go through question number 2 and the difference between appraisal and management. So with that, we have completed the meaning of first term, that is performance. Next, we need to see what is meant by productivity and what is meant by efficiency. Try to improve your reading ability. Then only your learning ability will increase. Reading plays a very important role. I hope everyone has completed question number 2. Then complete question number 3. Make it fast, Nana. Let us start question number 5 then. Let us start question number 5, Nana. Right. So to define performance, basically we need to measure it, right? When we talk about performance, we need to measure it. Then we need to compare it. When it comes to measurement, we use two concepts here. One is productivity and the one is efficiency. In simple terms, what is meant by productivity? What is meant by efficiency? In simple terms, productivity means how much quantity? How much quantity? In simple terms. In simple terms, Nana. Productivity means for a given set of inputs, how much quantity you are able to produce. That means relationship between input and output. For 1 kg of input, how much output you are able to produce. That is called as productivity. Am I clear? Now when it comes to efficiency, basically we focus on quality. Quality. Okay. More the quality, what is the relationship between quality and wastage? As quality increases, wastage decreases. Some authors focus on quality, some authors focus on wastage. So if I say that a particular employee is efficient, that means wastage will be as less as possible, or wastage will be within the limits. Am I clear, Nana? So generally there is difference between productivity and efficiency. You people are well versed with standard costing. You know how to calculate efficiency in terms of output. Actual output divided by standard output. Efficiency of labor. Generally efficiency is associated with labor. In standard costing we have variances, material variance, labor variance, overhead variance. Isn't it, Nana? Generally when it comes to material variance, we don't use the term efficiency. Isn't it? We use price, we use usage. Only when it comes to labor, we use the term efficiency. And when it comes to variable and fixed also, we use the term efficiency. Because overheads are dependent on labor. Efficiency is associated with term labor. Efficiency is associated with labor. And generally their efficiency means basically we compare what, Nana? Hours, right? Or output. What is the formula for efficiency, labor efficiency? SH by AH in terms of hours, or AO by SO. Actual output by, what is the meaning of that? How much output you were supposed to produce and how much output you actually produce. If actual output is equal to standard output, that means wastage is equal to normal loss. That means you are efficient. Am I clear? Are able to understand, Nana? If actual output is less than standard output, that means wastage is more than expected. That means loss is more than normal loss. That means there is abnormal loss. I hope you are able to follow. Before start of the production, management will be expecting a certain standard of output from you. So if your actual output is equal to standard output, that means you have worked efficiently. If actual output is more than standard output, no need to worry about it. You have worked efficiently. That means the wastage expected by the management, or wastage, actual wastage is less than the wastage expected by the management. Then only actual output will be more than standard output. And if actual output is less than standard output, worker is efficient or inefficient? Inefficient. Am I clear, Nana? So generally efficiency is a term associated with wastage. More the wastage, less the output. So to produce maximum output, our wastage should be as less as possible. So in other terms, efficiency is next step of productivity. Efficiency is the next step of advancement of productivity. In productivity, I'm only concerned about one thing. For 1 kg of input, how much output? In efficiency, is this output maximum output or not? Shall I repeat it once again, Nana? When it comes to productivity, I'm only concerned about product output or quantity. That is, for 1 kg of input, how much output I have produced. Only up to that point I am concerned when it comes to productivity. When it comes to efficiency, is this output maximum output or not? So when it comes to efficiency, we focus on quality, nothing but wastage. We want to minimize our wastage as less as possible. When wastage is minimized, automatically output will increase. So productivity is all about relationship between input and output, whereas efficiency is all about whether we are able to produce maximum output or not. That's the key difference between the two. So basically, efficiency is dependent on productivity. That means next step of productivity is efficiency. So as an employer, I'm not only concerned about productivity, but also I'm concerned about efficiency. An employee may be productive, but he may not be efficient. Can you prove it, sir? Yes, I can prove it. An employee, there are two employees. There are two employees in an organization. Both have worked for 10 hours. Both have worked for 10 hours each. Employee A has produced 100 units. Employee B has produced 80 units. Whose productivity is more? Have you understood, Nana? Let me write it here. Then there are two employees, A and B. Hours 10 hours, and this employee has also worked for 10 hours. Output produced 100 units and there 80 units. 80 units. Now whose productivity is higher? A. Okay. Up to that point it is okay, Nana. Now management will go one step further. Out of these units, how many are defective? How many are defective? 30 units defective, 5 units defective. Net output will be 70. Now who is efficient? Even though productivity is low, he is. I hope understood the difference between productivity and efficiency. So management should be concerned about productivity or efficiency. The moment management focuses on productivity, employee will neglect the quality. Employee will neglect the quality. That's why rather than focusing on productivity, they focus on efficiency. For defining efficiency, what management should do, Nana? They should define standard output. Standard output. And they will compare the actual output with standard output. How we will get standard output, sir? From standard input, they will subtract normal loss. Then you will get standard output. Am I clear, Nana? Am I clear? Understood? So management should focus on efficiency. The same thing is explained in a simpler manner here. Am I clear? Let us go through that point one by one. Pass on the mic, my dear.
Question number 5. Briefly write about concept of productivity and efficiency used to define the performance of an employee. Productivity and efficiency are both measures of the performance of an employee. The two measures together answer how quickly the job is completed as well as the resources which have to be utilized for the completion of the job.
Okay, Nana. Here we are concerned about two things. How quickly the job is completed, productivity. And how well we have utilized the resources, efficiency. In terms of teaching also, we can explain productivity and efficiency. I have completed the chapter in 10 hours. Uday sir has completed the chapter in 8 hours. Who is more productive? Uday sir. But feedback for him is much poorer than mine. I hope you understood, Nana. That means who is efficient? I hope you understood the example. Okay? Now I can take Uday as my lab rat because he is my close friend. Okay? He will be my specimen in my examples. So I completed the chapter in 10 hours. He has completed same chapter in 8 hours. He is more productive in terms of productivity. Nana. But in terms of efficiency, obviously, as the name suggests, I am. All right. Next, Nana. Next. Continue. Continue.
For an organization, issues of productivity and efficiency or measures of overall
When we talk
efficiency-
about overall efficiency, we need to cover, because without productivity, we can't calculate efficiency. If you want to know efficiency, first you have to calculate productivity. From productivity, we'll move on to efficiency. Then only we'll come to know the overall efficiency. Next, Nana.
This has a wide connotation as it impacts shareholders' wealth.
Generally, we focus on shareholders. But in the first question, we have learned that shareholders are not everything. Along with shareholders, there are several other parties regarding whom we need to take care of. They are called as stakeholders. Next, Nana.
Other stakeholders are also impacted on the productivity and efficiency level of the organization.
Next.
Productivity. Productivity as such provides insight into the relationship between input and output in a particular production
Below
process.
a formula is given, relationship between input and output. That is, for 1 kg or 1 kg of input, how many kgs of output? Next.
It not only defines the volume of output but also defines the resources employed for arriving at the output.
Next.
Thus, productivity is expressed as a ratio of input to output.
I don't think there is a need to explain it. Am I clear, Nana? Productivity is all about relationship between input and output. In simple terms, for 1 kg of input, how much quantity you have produced. And it is helpful for comparing the productivity of one person with the another person. Next, Nana.
Production is equals to output upon input. Productivity can be increased or decreased in the following ways: by producing more units with the same number of inputs, by using fewer inputs for the same number of outputs.
Nothing but he's talking about efficiency. He's talking about efficiency. Earlier, for 1 kg of input, I was able to produce 500 grams of output. For 1 kg of input, I was able to produce 500 grams of output, 0.5 kgs of output. Now, slowly it increased from 0.5 kgs to 0.6 kgs. That means my efficiency increased. Okay. Last year, it was 1 kg of input. For 1 kg of input, it was 0.5 kgs of output. This year, it is for 1 kg of input, it is 0.6 kgs of. There is increase in productivity. There is increase in productivity means automatically there is increase in. That's what we have learned in earlier classes, in basic elementary classes, Nana. If there is increase in efficiency, automatically there will be increase in productivity. Next.
The highest productivity is achieved when maximum output is obtained for a particular input level.
This highest productivity is called as efficiency point or efficient point. Next, Nana. That's what I have given in the bracket.
Increasing efficiency definitely raises productivity.
Underline that sentence. If there is increase in productivity, definitely it is because of efficiency, provided you have used the same quantity of input. Now you can increase output by increasing input. You can increase output by increasing. It does not mean that you are efficient. For same quantity of input, if there is increase in output, then only you are efficient. Am I clear? So here they are assuming ceteris paribus. They are taking assumption of ceteris paribus. That means input remains constant. Next.
Consequently, if the productivity growth of an organization is higher than that of its competitors or other firms, that firm performs better and is considered to be more effective.
Efficient.
Efficient.
Efficient. Okay. I hope it is clear. If your productivity is much higher than your competitors, that means you are more efficient than your competitors, assuming that other things remaining constant. Next.
Productivity is an objective concept.
That means based on facts, data. Facts is nothing but data. Next.
Accordingly, it should be measured against a universal standard.
Universal standard. Every industry has a standard. Basing on that standard, we have to measure. Every industry has its own standard. When it comes to teaching industry, we have standard of hours. Basing on that only, we have to measure how quickly we are able to complete the syllabus and how efficiently we are able to complete the syllabus. Next, Nana. Example is given. You can go through that example or later on. Next, continue, Nana.
Efficiency. Efficiency reflects the ability of a firm to obtain maximum output from a given set of inputs.
Underline that part of the sentence. Maximum output from a given set of input. Whatever the point that we have learned in the previous page, the same thing is repeated here, Nana. There in the previous page, I have mentioned the same thing in the bracket. Highest output means nothing but efficient point. So every company wants to achieve maximum output from a given set of input. That means input shall remain constant. And you want to increase your output. This is called as efficiency. Next.
If a firm is obtaining maximum output from a set of inputs, it is said to be an effective firm.
Nana, don't take every sentence lightly. These sentences may be important, but there is possibility that you may get the same thing in examination. The basic problem with higher level students is that they forget the basics. This entire subject is all about basics. And they are testing regularly in basics. So please keep that thing in mind. Am I clear? Next.
It is a measurable concept. It minimizes the wastage of resources like physical materials, energy and time while accomplishing the required output.
What part you have to underline? Minimization of wastage. You can't avoid wastage, but at least you should be able to minimize it. That means your losses should be equal to normal loss or less than normal loss, but not more than normal. If your actual loss is more than normal loss, on one hand you are inefficient, you will suffer from abnormal loss. Abnormal loss is to be borne by company, transferred to P&L account. That means your profits will decrease. Okay, right now, concept of efficiency.
Concepts of efficiency. Efficiency consists of two main components, technical efficiency and allocative efficiency.
Two types of efficiency, technical and allocative. Technical depends on utilization of resources. Allocative, allocation of resources. First thing, resources are abundant or scarce. So you should be very careful when it comes to allocation of resources. Yes, you have allocated resources. It does not mean that it will guarantee efficiency. Once the resources are allocated, the allocated resources should be utilized efficiently. Allocation is important. After allocation, utilization is also important. Did not get my point. You have limited amount of money. 5,000 rupees is there. I am taking a random example. 5,000 rupees is there. You have two options. Either to celebrate the birthday of your beloved person or to pay examination fee. Obviously, we'll choose examination. That is allocation. That is allocation. They were very quick in answering this term. Okay. Obviously, we have our own agenda, right? We'll think about it later on. So we'll spend it on exam. That is allocation. Now, once you have paid examination fee, you have to make every penny count. That means you should make sure that you have qualified the exam. That is called as proper utilization. You have paid money for examination. You have failed it. Neither you have qualified nor you were able to make your friend happy. I hope you understood my example. You have only 5,000. You can't do both the things. Either this one or that one. You can't celebrate your birthday with your beloved friend. That's why what you can't do both the things now. Either celebrating birthday with your beloved friend or paying examination fee. What you have done now, you have decided to pay for examination fee. That is allocation. Limited amount of money allocated to one particular purpose. Once allocated, you have to make sure that you have prepared well and passed the examination. If you have not done it now, that means what? You have not utilized this money properly. You have done the allocation properly, but utilization was not done. Am I clear? Have you understood that? The same is applicable for companies also. There are some laborer. You have divided the laborer for different departments. There is allocation. Now, once the laborer have been allocated different departments, you have to make sure that these laborers are optimally utilized. Mere allocation will not guarantee success. Not only allocation, you have to, along with allocation, you have to take care of utilization. So these two are called as, one is called as technical, and other one is called as allocative. Read it, Nana.
Generally, the term efficiency refers to the technical efficiency.
Okay.
Technical efficiency occurs if a firm obtains maximum output from a set of inputs.
Generally, we start with allocation. After allocation comes utilization. Utilization, when we talk about utilization, we're talking about technical efficiency. When we talk about allocation, we're talking about allocative efficiency. Am I clear? Read it now.
Allocative efficiency occurs when a firm chooses the optimal combination of inputs given the level of prices and the production technology.
Ceteris paribus, other things remaining constant. Whatever the inputs that are available, how to allocate these inputs or factors of production for different purposes. Once we have allocated, how well we are able to use it. More the efficiency, maximum will be the output. Next, Nana.
When a firm fails to choose the optimal combination of inputs at a given level of prices, it is said to be allocatively inefficient, though it may be technically efficient.
It may be technically efficient, Nana. See, resources were not properly allocated, but still they were able to produce maximum output from the given resources. So they are technically efficient, but unfortunately they are allocatively inefficient. Or the other way around. They may be allocatively efficient, but they may be technically inefficient. In my earlier example, you were allocatively efficient, but technically you were inefficient because you did not qualify your exams. Am I clear, Nana? Next.
Technical efficiency and allocative efficiency combine to provide overall efficiency.
When these two are there, then only then only we can say that both we have overall efficiency. That means both efficiencies are important because resources are scarce. So we need to distribute them properly. Not only that, we have to utilize them properly. Distribution, allocation, utilization, technical. We are concerned about both types of efficiencies. Next.
When a firm achieves maximum output from a particular input level with utilization of inputs at least cost, it is considered to be an overall efficient firm.
Right, Nana. So, utilization of input and maximum output from a particular level of input. So, basically, here particular level of output input level means nothing but allocated. This is allocated and this is already given utilization. If we have both these things, then we can say that the firm has overall efficiency or the firm is overall efficient. Nana. Next.
Importance of efficiency.
Okay. Efficiency analysis.
When considering efficiency analysis in financial institutions, Berger and Humphrey stress. Berger and Humphrey stress.
When you say burger, I start feeling hungry. Burger is different and Berger. Okay, Berger and Humphrey stress that it is important to determine their efficiencies because they are in a competitive environment and their strength is vital for solvency. In simple terms, what is solvency? Assets more than? That's what I know. If your assets are more than your liabilities, then you are declared as solvent. Declared as solvent person. That means you have the ability to repay your debt or liabilities. Okay. Further, efficiency analysis not only has important ramifications or impact for institutions themselves as evident in their competitiveness and solvency, it is also important for other interested parties such as regulatory authorities and general public, nothing but stakeholders. Okay, that is the conclusion regarding efficiency of financial firms. Nana. Ramifications, consequences. Ramification. When you ram into something, you have to face the consequences. Ram until kotto. Kottu they'll do. Then you have to face the consequences. That is called as ramifications. Am I clear, Nana? So with this we have completed 3 terms: performance, productivity and efficiency. We'll continue next class. Thank you.